Thank you for tuning in to The Balancing Fact. I'm Angela Calais. I have been a full-time realtor for the past 16 years. With 3 kids running a real estate brokerage, I work to dispel the myth that you cannot have a work-life balance when working in real estate. That balance looks different for everybody. Today, my guest is Beverly Whipple. Beverly Whipple has branded herself as your Tattooed Realtor in her southern Utah real estate market, where she's made quite a name for herself as such. Beverly had previously worked as a staff manager for a large St. George, Utah brokerage, where she not only managed the staff, but also the everyday workings of a real estate office. After almost 6 years of running the inside of the real estate office, she decided she wanted to get in front of the business and become a full-time realtor, June of 2015, and she has never looked back. Currently holding 13 designations or certifications, Beverly considers herself on the front lines of education in her St. George market, absorbing as much as she can about the industry to further her client base and overall knowledge of what she says is her calling career in real estate. Beverly has 2 young kids at home, Cougar, who's 9, and Sebastian, who's 5, and has lived in St. George since 1993. She's a published author for several real estate publications, including Inman, and not only takes pride in her real estate career, but also loves the marketing aspect of her brand. Now working under the ERA Brokers Consolidated name, Beverly is looking forward to accomplishing amazing things, not only as an educator, but a brand ambassador for herself and ERA. She is currently the president of the St. George Network of the Women's Council of Realtors, the president of the local Habitat for Humanity, and president-elect of the Washington City, Utah Rotary, where she resonates with their motto, service above self. Beverly has put education at the forefront of her career, and I can't wait to share what she has learned about how to prioritize learning in real estate. Good morning, Beverly. Thanks for joining me today.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good. So you're joining me from Utah.
I am the most southern part of Utah, St. George, Utah.
Okay. So what is the market like in Utah?
It's crazy, like it is everywhere else, right? That's
Is
what
it?
I've heard.
Okay.
So we are between, of course, Las Vegas and California is not too far away. So we've had a massive influx of people move here. They found out, thanks to COVID, that they can work remotely. And so they're thinking, why am I living in this crazy town when I can go live in one of the most beautiful areas in our country and work from home and pay how much for our homes? So our average price range used to be about 350,000. And then last year, let's say last month, it was just about 500,000.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's insane, crazy out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long have you been selling homes?
I've been a full-time agent since June 2015. I've been in the business for, gosh, 11 years, 12 years. I was the staff manager of a local brokerage, started there in 2010. So I was there for about 5.5, 6 years, and then just naturally progressed to becoming an agent. So I've been in the business for a minute.
Okay. So when you say naturally, you saw what everybody else was doing maybe and thought like, I can do it better. Let me
Um,
throw
no,
my hat in.
honestly not. Honestly not. I'm one of those people that I learn something and I get bored very quickly. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
learned it. Okay, what's next? So I started off as like the lowly little phone answerer, and then I started entering listings, and then I started cutting commission checks, and then I
Mhm.
became the manager, and then I just knew everything in that
Yeah.
company. And really long story short, I just I saw an opportunity for me to better myself, to better my position in life and turn this into a career because I had reached the ceiling in that position, gosh, about two and
Mhm.
a half years in. And like I said, I stayed for, 5.5, 6 years. But it was scary, because I was paid really handsomely. I had full benefits and it was
That's
steady
the
pay.
thing.
And
That
then
can be hard to give up.
yeah, and then going over to commission, I was like, like bite my nails.
Mhm.
But yeah, so for me, it was just going from behind the the curtain to in front of the curtain to working with the public.
Yeah. And I know based on our conversations or our communication coming up to this conversation, I noticed you have a very big what's the word I'm looking for? Education is definitely important to
Mhm.
you, and I could see in
Yes.
all of the designations that you hold. So I've never seen another agent with so many letters after their
Uh-huh.
name before.
Yeah.
I it might even be designations I've never even heard of. I'm like, "How? What?" So what
So,
brought that on?
again, it's my love for learning, and what I don't
Mhm.
know scares me. So instead of living life just terrified of everything around me, I figure let's learn some more. So there is a mentor in our area, and she is engaging and dynamic. And when I first took a CE class from her, I was like, wow, completely floored. I thought this woman is amazing. I don't care what she teaches, I'm going to take it. And she
Mm,
had this challenge that said, if anybody can get more designations and NAR certifications, then I will. I will pay for your day in Disneyland, 'cause she's a big Disney fanatic. And I said, challenge accepted. So at the end of this year, actually, gosh, in 2 weeks, I will have, let's see, 13, I'll have 15 designations, which I think
oh my
ties me with
gosh.
her. So
And
yeah,
how long did it take so how many years is that then that you've been working on that?
gosh, I would say at least 3 years.
Okay.
And it's been kind of a hybrid of online, which I'm not a huge fan of,
Yeah.
and then the live in class or in person. I love the live classes because you get so much more interaction, and for me, I learn easier that way. But yeah, I'd say
Mhm.
about 3.5 years to get all those.
Wow. So what is there one that you think was the hardest to achieve?
No, they're all because none of them, as I recall, had, any quizzes or anything like that. It was,
Mhm.
it was learning. You learn at your own pace. You take massive amounts of notes. Um, they I so let's see, the PSA, the pricing strategy analysis,
Mm.
that one and the negotiation one. Those ones were really fun, and you had to role play in those
Okay.
classes. And so if you're not a role player,
Ugh, I
it's kind of
can't
you get
stand
put
role
on the
playing.
spot, you get a little nervous. But other than that, they're
Yeah.
all, I mean, essentially pretty easy. Some of them are 2 day, some of them are 3 day classes, and you just have to commit your time. I'd say committing your time and cell phones off, off of everything on the computer if
Yeah.
you're on the computer, or pushing deals and transactions to the side was probably the hardest part of everything.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any one designation that you think, has served you the most?
Oh, absolutely. The ABR, which is the accredited
Mm,
buyer representative, and the SRS, which on the opposite side is the seller's representative specialist. So
mm,
um, those two are just phenomenal. They help you champion your buyers and your sellers, to the best of your ability, and you learn so much. I actually became certified to teach those classes,
mm,
so I've taught a couple of the ABR classes, and they're so fun. And again, just the interaction with the people that you have in the class. I mean, what's crazy is they don't really realize that they're teaching themselves. So I'll come out and say, okay, your feedback is what I play on. So
mm.
please speak up. Let me know if you have questions. And there's no such thing as a dumb or silly question. Bring it up because guaranteed people are going to have that question, and we all learn. So yeah,
Right,
ABR
exactly.
and SRS, my two favorites.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you ever use, that as part of your marketing when you're meeting with buyers or sellers, and how do
Mhm.
you maximize that?
So I do. I read my audience. It depends. Sometimes in my business right now, I've got most of my business is referral business, past clients,
Mhm,
the repeat business, and so I'm in a phenomenal place in my real estate career. But before, when I'd have to go and really pitch for, utilize my services, I would try to pinpoint what it is that they were looking for. Well, first of all, was it a buyer or is it a seller? I've got my the VA training that's in there, the MRP, military relocation. And so, you definitely determine on what is it that they need that they may not
mm,
even know that they need, and what do they place a value on. So just in talking, I always say, and of course, all those numbers or letters come after my name on all of my printing. And
mhm.
so, I mentioned, hey, I've spent X amount of hours in the classroom
Yeah,
learning and just honing my skills. Your average agent has 0 designations,
mhm.
0 certifications. And here I've got 13, not to toot my own horn, but toot.
Yeah,
I love to learn, and I like to keep my skills sharp. So it's almost like a broad blanket statement, but I think that is such a valuable thing in our business, because guess what? We all do the same thing, right? You
Mhm.
find a house, you sell the house, you fill in the paperwork, the documents. It's all how you work with the buyers, the sellers, your consumer. And sometimes our owed duties are duties that we don't even think that, oh yeah, somebody might like that. So definitely I
Mhm.
always point that out, even if it's not a big thing to them, or even if I've already sold them on using my services.
Yeah.
It's something definitely to note, I feel, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have one on your list? Do you know which one's next? Or are you
Yes.
done? Are there any more that you could possibly
Well,
get?
yeah, what's funny is now I'm up to the ones where it takes 10 years of, full-time real estate experience. So let's see,
Mhm.
in 2 weeks I'm doing the CRB. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what that one stands for, but
Okay.
my mentor, she says, "Hey, we're offering the CRB class." And I said, "Oh, perfect. That's one of the two that I need to get." And so I need to do a little research on that, but it's a 3-day class, so that's next week. And then I've got one 8-hour class left in my CRS. So that will
Mm.
be, my two. And, CRS, that's been phenomenal. Again, it's placing value on our time. Time is our most precious commodity. We can't get our time back. And so it is very difficult as an agent, especially with all this stuff going on around us. And for me as well, I'm a single mother of 2 kids. I run a household. I've got 3 businesses. I do a lot, and so
Mhm.
just having to put everything aside for 2 or 3 days, that's the biggest commitment. But again, it definitely has helped in my business, and for me to be able to assist my buyers and sellers for sure.
Well, and I think that's an important point too, because I talk to, agents in our company or just agents in general, people who are thinking about getting into the business, and I always emphasize education.
Mhm.
So, in my brokerage, specifically for our agents who have their CRS designation, they actually get a higher commission split because I
Nice.
want to encourage our agents to continue their education and really have that higher standard of learning that they can offer to their clients or to our
Mhm.
clients. And so, that's my way of emphasizing that. And I think the biggest obstacle that people have is, how am I going to prioritize having time for that when there's so many immediate things that need
Yeah.
to get done? um and one, I think you have to value it and you have to really want it. But
Mhm.
you're right, if you've got 2 kids, or you've got other volunteer projects, you've got other things. um how do you really you know make make that a priority, that you're going to put the time in and know that you're going to get it back?
So for me, I mean, we all wake up hopefully with the same 24 hours in the day. So when I hear people say, "Oh, I don't have time for that," you do have time for that. You just didn't create the time or carve the time out for that.
Mhm.
So again, for me, education is huge. It is massive. One of our um, ethics that are owed, our duties owed to our clients, is reasonable care and diligence. What does that even mean? That means that I am on top of my contracts. I know that I'm using the most current updated contracts. I know what they mean. And sometimes that means sitting down and time blocking. So time blocking is that like little golden statue in the sky. I'm always constantly working towards.
Mhm.
But honestly, it's all within the person. Somebody has to find the value for themselves, to be able to take the class. And hopefully they take the classes from, again, an engaging and entertaining speaker. Because I know when
Mhm.
I was a brand new baby agent, I'm like, oh, CE, just like everyone else, you moan and you groan and you sit in front of the instructor for like 4 hours and you're falling asleep. Um,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, doing some research on the instructor before you commit, I think that's good. Are you going to jive with that instructor? Is there a different class or time or instructor that may work better for you? So yeah, it comes from within, but it's definitely my love and my passion to continuously learn so I can assist my people better. And you had mentioned that in your brokerage, your people get paid a little bit extra for having a certain designation. I like to think that I get paid faster because it's my skill and my expertise
Mhm.
that people are really trusting. And so, they put their future in my hands. and I'm able to close transactions a bit faster because I know what I'm doing, you know? So, yeah, we all have to, or not all of us, but it's important that we carve out the time for the things that are important to us, and
Yeah.
education is right up at the top for me.
Right. I know in addition to your designations, you also, you, you have an interest in branding.
I do.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So let's see. I'm gonna make a really long story, somewhat short. So, gosh,
Okay.
again, I was a brand new agent, was probably maybe licensed for 2 months, and I was on floor time, so that or opportunity time. You're
Mhm.
in at the brokerage. You know, you're taking any cold calls that come in or people who walk in the office, and you assist them. So I got a phone call, and I had a couple of tattoos, and they were very prominent. And so I sit down, I take this phone call, and it was obviously an older gentleman. He says, "Well, I want to sell my house." And I said, "Okay, great." I was just so excited. And then that voice of doubt came in my head and said, "Oh my gosh, he's an
Mm,
older person, and you're going to show up with your tattoos, and he's not going to like you. He's not going to list his house with you, you know?" And so I had the option: do I show up in my tattooed glory, or do I wear long sleeves and
right.
pants? I elected to wear long sleeves and pants, unfortunately. But fortunately, I showed up, and this guy was an old Army veteran, and he had tattoos up and down his arm. You know, the old Sailor Jerry, and they're faded and worn. And we immediately connected, and so I was showing him my tattoos, and so that moment on, I said, I'm never going to hide who I am again, and that's been such a
Mm,
poignant turn in my business. So yeah, I advertise now as your tattooed realtor. Um, and it's for me, I live in a very conservative area.
mhm.
And you know, people sometimes don't have an open mind towards somebody who's got, I mean, just because I have tattoos, you know, I'm not at some satanic festival, you know, like heaven forbid I've
Yeah.
got tattoos. Most of us have tattoos these days. But so I wanted people to know right off the bat, guess what? I've got tattoos, but I'm fun, you know, and I'm
Yeah.
smart. So I took that, and people love my branding. That has resonated nationwide,
Mhm.
with other people, and I get love letters from other agents saying, "Thank you so much. You were the inspiration behind me becoming an agent. I've got a tattoo, or I've got a piercing,
Mhm.
and I didn't think that I could do this, but you showed me that I can." And so that's one of the things I teach in my classes is it's all about confidence, you know?
Mhm.
I fake it until I become it, you know? I don't wanna fake
Mhm.
it till I make it. I wanna become the person that I'm doing my very best to be, and that is just the confident me, and guess what? Yep, I've got tattoos, here I am, let's
Mhm.
do business, I'm gonna take care of you. So, again, that last year I started, it's called Epic Results Brand Consulting.
Oh.
So, yeah, people come to me, they ask, you know, "Hey, you're successful online, you're successful offline, what's the secret?" And so I've got a couple, you know, little packages where we consult and we chat about their business. You know, what are you
Mhm.
lacking on? What do you need assistance with? And just kinda go from there.
So for a new agent starting out, what would you think the main focus for their branding should be? Do you think they should really start out with a strong brand or kind of start working and kind of develop and see, you know, how things are going for them and kind of
Mhm.
go from there? Or what do you think?
You know, that's a fantastic question. Right off the top of my head, I say start out and figure out who you are, but
Mhm.
always have that in your subconscious. You know, what do I do that sets me apart? Because I think
Mhm.
new agents are so overwhelmed with education and fees and brokerage
Mhm.
items and having to actually get the business. You know, gosh, 2 years ago, the statistic was 87% of new agents don't make it to their relicensing period, and that's just lack of education, lack of training, lack of expectations. You know, they've got their phone, they've got their license, like it only is going to take, you know, 2 transactions, and I'm going to make as much as I made last year. This is going to be
Yeah.
easy. Well, guess what? It's not easy. So I would say, you know, focus on just getting the basics first, and your personality will come out. Your niche will make itself apparent. So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely take some time and get things figured out first, but always have in the back of your head, what am I good at? What do I like? What are my
Mhm.
hobbies? What are things aside from real estate that I have a vast knowledge of? So that's a
Mhm.
great question.
Yeah. Um, I think that, when you mentioned, being confident, um, That's a lot of what and I keep going back to new agents, and I think some of it is because of designations. Something that I always tell new agents going in is that's a great way to immediately get credibility and let people know
Yes.
you've gone above and beyond. Just because you're new doesn't mean you don't have the education, doesn't mean you can't service them, and you can do designations right away. Some of them you need to have that experience, and you need to
Mhm.
have those certain amount of sales to get, but there's some that you don't. Just, do get the designations right away, and then with the branding, I think for me, I think that that's a great way to bring your business to the next level immediately. Having a strong, even if it's not necessarily a slogan that you've have yet because you haven't done a lot of business, but just having colors that look the same, having a look that is cohesive. It looks professional. And I think that sellers, primarily, if they see the way you're marketing yourself, they'll
Mhm.
feel confident in the way that you'll market their property.
Absolutely.
And similarly, how you present yourself is how you're going to present their property, how you're going to present yourself when you're marketing their property. And if you're not confident,
Mhm.
how are you going to confidently express, what is great about their home? So
Absolutely.
I'm very similar to you in that I have a lot of tattoos, mostly on my like left arm, my left shoulder, and my back. And I was very similar when I first started out. I'm like, I have to cover these up. I have to wear a long jacket. And on hot summer days, there were days where I was just
Oh, dying.
sweltering. I was like, I
Uh-huh.
can't take this jacket off. I can't let them see because they'll
Yes,
think I'm
heaven
not
forbid.
professional. And then I want to say it was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. And I just said, you know what? If they don't like me for the way that I am, I'm going to feel more comfortable walking in there feeling like myself, like I'm not
Mhm.
covering something up. And I think people will respond to just you being natural. And then I thought
Absolutely.
if somebody doesn't want to work with me because of tattoos, then it is not meant to be.
Absolutely.
And I and I think I also underestimated a lot of people. I kind of
Mhm.
put a judgment out there that was what I didn't want people to do to me. I was automatically judging and assuming that they would think
Mhm.
negatively of me because of that, and that's not fair either. So we don't want to
Oh,
put
no.
that out to the universe. So
Yeah. No, I'm definitely with that. I'm very authentic with who I am. Who you see here is who I am on my Instagram channels in real life. I'm just the zany, wacky lady who I've got tattoos. I love education. Like I just want to help. I'm big in the community because I love to give back. I love what I do. And so not having to wear a mask on
mhm.
hiding who I am, whether it's physically or mentally, it's so much more clear when you know who you are and you're comfortable with yourself. I do a lot of video and podcasts and things like this, and people will come up to me and say, "How are you so comfortable on video?" I say, "I got over myself."
Yeah.
Most everybody, they know what I look like, they know what I sound like. I mean, other than having a booger in my nose and just smoothing my hair down, I push the record button and I just start talking.
Yeah.
It's all about that confidence, and especially for those new agents because they walk in, they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. These people are going to ask me questions, and I have no idea how I'm going to respond. And I have that too. It's a little of that imposter syndrome. It kind of creeps in every now and then, but
Sure.
I'm like, you know what? I got this. This is what I
Mhm.
was made to do. I mean, essentially, just like you said, earlier, we're just talking.
Mhm.
I don't say my business is real estate. My business is relationships. And
Mhm.
just like you said just now, if somebody doesn't want to work with me based on the fact that I have tattoos or piercings, like I don't want to work with you either. That
Mhm.
sucks. You could have had really great representation, and I hope the next person takes care of you as well as I would have. But heck, maybe I can give you a referral. But yeah, not having to hide behind something like you said makes you so uncomfortable. So now you can focus on, the issues at hand and how to be
Right.
able to help your people the best. So I
Yeah,
think that's
instead of, "Oh, I have to make sure my sleeve doesn't get rolled up or something at the
absolutely,
table." You can
absolutely.
focus on what's important.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you see in the future for your business?
Well, I'm gonna let you in on a secret between you and me and everyone, right? I want to focus on more education. Surprise!
Yeah.
I really love educating, and I've always had this passion to assist people, and bring to light a fun environment, because I've been through those boring CE classes or just boring high
Mhm.
school classes and college classes. I'm like,
Mhm.
what am I learning here? So I'm kind of working on writing my own classes and being able to offer them even live or via Zoom. So I'm thinking it's been on my 5 year. Well, actually, it was on my 20-year goal, because my kids they're young. I've got a 5-year-old and a will be 10 day after Christmas.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, well, I can't travel with them. And then I was thinking, well, why not? Why can't I travel with them? So
Mhm.
maybe bring my mom along, or a friend or someone, watch them for a couple hours, but get some culture in my kids. And so when I was thinking of that, we have such limited time on Earth. When you really sit down to think about it, it's so dang short. I want to
Yeah.
maximize my time and maximize who I'm able to impact. And I think I bring a lot of value. I feel like I bring a lot of value, through branding and knowledge and fun, and just education overall. So my plan is, my grand scheme of things is, within
Mhm.
5 years, I will be teaching nationwide, like I said, either in person or via Zoom. So
Oh,
I
that's
love that idea.
exciting.
So yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
I wish you luck with that. I think you'd
Thank
be
you.
be really great at that.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So, tell me a little bit about your kids.
Oh gosh. Well, let's see, like I said, 5 and gonna be 10 soon, both boys. Little hellions for sure. But there's definitely, so got a divorce last year. It was not COVID related. It was started in January. That just went to hell in a handbasket very, very
Mhm.
quickly. And finding myself in the middle of running a household and
Mhm.
running not only my real estate business, but, and I don't really like to throw titles out, but to give everyone context here, I'm the president of the Women's Council, our local Women's Council of Realtors. I'm the president of Habitat for Humanity, our local chapter. I'm the president elect of one of our Rotaries in the area. I offer educational classes, and I'm just always out doing something. And this is on
Mhm.
top of parenting my kids and mowing
Mhm.
the lawn and making sure they're fed and watered. And I got a dog too. So, oh,
Yeah.
and I have to get enough sleep and water myself and go to the gym, right? So,
Right.
I found myself in this space like, what do I do? And I really
Mhm.
didn't have an option but just continue moving forward. So dad's not in the picture, and so even now it's like I don't get time off. I don't get every other weekend. I don't get the evenings. It's
Mm.
just it's me. I didn't have an option to fail, and so I think that mindset for me was really what pushed me to be who I am. I've always been very outgoing, and very extroverted, and just here I am. Let's take care of your needs here. And so with my kids, that has been so difficult because
Mhm.
I love to work. I'm one of those people where I would just work all day, every day. But now I have to stop and I get to spend time with my kids. And so it's finding that fine balance between, when is it okay to stop taking phone calls at home? Because,
Yeah.
we sometimes get phone calls at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., whatever it is. And so sometimes people will call and I'll shoot them a text. I'm very big on text. And I say, I'm on
Mhm.
family time right now. What do you need? If it's too lengthy, I'll get back to you tomorrow.
Mhm.
So they've really, really taught me, and they're continuing to teach me, patience. And
Mhm.
so, and just being able to roll with the punches. One kid throws up in the middle of the night, and there goes your day. Or
Oh, yeah.
they're both in school now. So, and I got a call from school earlier, and it's like my heart just falls out of my chest. Like, oh no, who's sick? Who's
Yeah.
pick somebody who's picking their nose too much, and
Mhm.
but it was just my oldest telling me he lost a tooth. So
Oh.
thankfully everything is good. But yeah, those little guys, they are the world to me. And I tell them frequently, I said, you guys are why I do everything. You're my why.
Yeah.
Again, I wanna impact their lives positively. I want to leave a legacy, and just merely by having them, I've left a legacy. But now it's really up to me to teach them and train them, and untrain my own brain on past things that my parents taught me. There's
Yeah.
this huge shift, I think, in our generation right now, where we are having to unlearn what our parents taught us. And of course, we didn't come with manuals, so our parents were growing up the same time we were.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that they've ever hit their age milestones as well. So they don't know what they're doing.
We're all figuring it out.
Exactly. And so it's so important that I think that we're able to adapt and pivot, and just be able to have fun and again enjoy our time here on Earth because it's so fleeting and we just don't ever think about it that way. So yeah, those guys at Cougar and Sebastian, we have fun. They test my patients every day, and my dad said, he said, "That's literally their job. That's their only
Yeah.
job right now is to push the boundaries and find out if we ask mom 10 times, will she say yes on that 11th time, right?"
Yes.
So, yeah, but I love them to death. My pride and joy, albeit very difficult young little men.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where they had to come to work with you or a
Oh, yeah. Oh,
showing
yeah.
or yeah.
Yep, absolutely, and yeah, like I said, I'm it, my mom helps immensely, she's the only family I have out here, so, between me and her, we typically figure things out, but yeah, people wanna see homes in the evenings, and on weekends.
Mhm.
Evenings for me are tougher because I get home and I'm like, dinner, dishes,
Right.
bath, all the things, and so the weekend ones, yeah, just last week, I took a couple out, and they're used to my kids now because 'cause they've been searching for a year, but I'm like, well, kids are coming with me. I know that's going to be fine. And
Mhm.
I have a talk with them. I say, okay, guys, you know the rule. You don't
Mhm.
open your mouth. You are quiet. You are seen. You are not heard. All that typical stuff. But it's really fun because I get to teach them as well. And I'm like, okay, guys. One time I walked my oldest through a home with some clients, and he's like, it smells funny in here, and I'm like, and he's like, "Mom, there's a cockroach over there." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, shh,
Yeah.
you don't see the cockroach." And so I educate him. I said, "Okay, guys, we're pointing out the good things of the home. So I want you to point out all the good things that you see when you walk in through here. Like, oh wow, look at this carpet, it's really nice, and wow, that door opens up really easy. Things for their little brains to comprehend. And
Yeah.
so it's just hilarious now. They always want to like we've got the electronic key boxes. They want to push the key box up so the key comes out,
Mm.
and they want to hold the door open for everybody
Mhm.
and go check out the bedroom. So yeah, they
Yeah.
are with me. I wouldn't say frequently, but I
Mhm.
would say at least one out of 10 showings, they're with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a
I
good time.
feel like that's one of those other situations where it's just about being authentic.
Mhm.
People have to understand that you have kids. There's definitely been times where, when my oldest, he's 14 now, but when he was a baby, he came with me everywhere. And that
Mhm.
was 14 years ago, it was a tough real estate market.
Yeah.
Eh, Hiring a babysitter all the time wasn't an option.
Yeah.
Um, and I just had that little, those little cases we carry our infants in, and
Yep.
I'd put him down in the living room. We'd walk around the house, and
Mhm.
um, I know my middle son too. He got really good at showing houses. This is the kitchen, and
Mhm.
oh, here's
That's
the
so
living
cute.
room. Oh, this is a nice window, and it was actually
Yeah,
kind of adorable. And
it
I mean,
is.
people just have to accept that. And now that they're a little bit older, I can leave them at home and my husband's around. But sometimes it's, he's got this kid over here. These two are old enough to stay home,
Mhm.
and somebody wants a last minute showing on a Saturday,
Yeah.
and I was just out for a run. I'll be right there, but you're getting you're getting mom
Oh, yeah.
Angela, you're not getting realtor Angela right now. And they're, yep, bring whoever you got. Bring
Well, and I think that's very important or important to know is you are you. Guess what?
Mhm.
I may be sweaty and stinky and I got 5 kids behind me, but this is me. And
Yeah.
you're confident in that. And that's it. And they're not there to judge you based on your looks. They're not going to work with you because your hair is curled, you got your makeup
Mhm.
on, or because you're in a nice dress. No, they're there to work with you because you've expressed your value. You've proven, your value proposition, and you're there to help them. Doesn't matter how many kids I've got behind me, but that is such an important part of, especially this whole balancing thing.
Mhm.
Whether you're single or you're married or anything and everything in between, this is life, people. Like, guess
Yeah.
what? We live with kids in the world, and they're our future. So you're dealing with it. My kids are coming with me. I will do my
Yeah.
best to make sure they're well behaved. If nothing else, you at least get a laugh out of them. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but I think you're absolutely right. It's that authenticity of it is what it is. I'm
Mhm.
doing my best, and sometimes that means they come with me, and I'm not even ashamed
Yeah.
about it.
And you
So
just gotta roll with it.
yeah.
I had a client call me last night at 8:30, and typically, like you said, there's a time where you have to just know, "I'm not taking any more calls." Well,
Hmm.
this was just one of those times where the kids were upstairs, and I was going through an offer that came in with a really short deadline, and so I was by
Hmm.
my phone anyway, and And I answered and she goes, "Oh, thank you so much for answering so late." I said, "Hey, sometimes if you call me at this time, I will be asleep. So just know I'm not answering if I'm
Yes,
sleeping." And she just
yes,
laughed and,
yeah,
that's just the way it is. And the
yeah.
day before I had met her, I had to text her like not too long before my showing or our appointment. And I just said, "I have to apologize in advance. I'm not going to be dressed professionally. I had my day planned out in a way that I would be completely prepared for our appointment. Things did not go the way I had planned. You'll get all you'll get all of me, and I'm just I'm
Yep,
gonna be wearing flip-flops and leggings." And she
and
says, "I
that's
don't
okay.
care."
Yep, exactly. They really don't care, and that's one of those funny things I've learned over my time on earth is people don't care about you. They care about them. You walk
Yeah.
into a room, you're like, "Oh gosh, is my skirt too short? Is my jacket too tight?" Whatever the case is, they're not looking at you.
Right.
They're thinking about themselves. 9 times out of 10, they're stuck in their own head. But yeah, just ensuring that you're the most authentic you possible, I think, is the best thing that you can do for not only for yourself but your clients as well, because they will see that, they can feel that. So
Yeah, I
I
agree.
did have a gal. Let's see, she was a lender and she worked at a bank. Not my most favorite thing. She was very difficult to get a hold of. Imagine that. And like I said, I do a lot of my business over email, over text. And this lender, it was late one evening, and we're coming down to the wire. Like financing and appraisal deadline is here, and I'm like, we need an answer. That typical
Yeah.
scenario. So she calls me, and I could tell that she was probably pretty new. She lived in Ohio, so she was 2 hours ahead of us, and it was
Mm.
probably 6 or 7 p.m. Mountain time, so 8 or 9 p.m. their time, and she sounds just frazzled, and I can hear typing in the background, and I'm trying to walk her through this. I mean, even though I'm not a lender, I'm like, it's going to be okay. Like, go back and check this for me. And so I hear the clicking in the background, and then I start hearing kids and screaming in the background. I'm just kind of chuckling to
Oh,
myself, and then I hear the phone go dead silent, and I'm like, oh, she's yelling at those kids, right? And so she gets back up and she's like, I'm just so sorry. I'm just so sorry. It's almost bedtime here. And I said, girl, listen, call me back after you get those little nuggets in bed. I said, take a deep breath. This is going to be fine. I've got kids too. I know exactly how it is. Don't
yeah.
apologize. And as a society, we apologize for everything, which I think that's one of those things we need to unlearn. Like, why are you
Mhm.
sorry? Excuse me, pardon me, or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. But so don't be sorry. I've got kids too. And so the funny thing is the moment I said, don't be sorry, go take care of your kids, call me back, or let's take care of it tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen tonight, right? Everything's said and done for tonight. And I could just feel the energy shift. I mean, even on the phone, she just
Yeah.
lightened up, and she was so helpful. And she just did a 180, and it was just because I was able to connect with her on something as simple as, hey, you got kids, I understand. It's okay that they're screaming. I'm smacking mine in the background too. It's okay,
Yeah.
So I think that being vulnerable is a huge thing in our lives. And I myself have been accused of not being vulnerable. But I think it's such a big thing because it's relatable. Um,
Yeah.
Again, I do a lot of videos, and I call myself Wing It Whipple and One Take Whipple. I
Mhm.
push record, and that's it. I do not do multiple takes. I don't have a script. I just talk. And if
Yeah.
I flub up my words, I just keep going. And I'll
Yeah.
make a joke about it,
Well, and
because
who's got time for retakes?
oh,
Like,
absolutely.
just get
Yeah,
it done.
nobody got
Yeah.
time for that. Absolutely. Like,
No.
"Nope, this is it," and then I'm out. But yeah, people like that. They're like, "Oh, look, she messed up on camera and she kept talking." Like, it's not the end of the world. So I've
Mhm.
never had anybody say, "I'm not working with you because you combined 2 words together and, you're just unprofessional," right? No, they
Yeah.
wanna work with you more because you're able to be confident and
Mhm.
mess up a word and just keep on going. So yeah, that
Yeah.
vulnerability, relatability, I think, is huge in the business too.
Yeah, I agree. And you have a team you formed, right?
You? Yep.
Tell me a little about
Um,
that.
so I had my second child. Gosh, like I said, he's 5 now, and I took 3 months off to be with him. And he was
Wow.
born in 2016. Like I said, I became an agent. It was 1 year almost to the date. I had become an agent, and my son was born. I took 3 months off. I stopped calling. I stopped marketing. I stopped doing everything. So I mean, I was already on just 1 year in. And so when I started back up again, it was like, oh gosh, I'm a brand new agent all over again. What happened to the business? What am I
Yeah.
going to do? So I actually got a job. I was hired on at an insurance agency, and I was going to quit real estate. And I said, why? Why am I doing this? And I felt such this magnetic pull. I said, I can't quit real estate. So I called the insurance guy. I said, thank you for the opportunity. I can't take the position. And so I just continued to keep my mind open. And then an opportunity came up where one of my preferred lenders said, hey, this team is looking to hire a buyer's agent. Do you want me to put you in touch? I said, sure. What's a buyer's agent? And so
Mm,
I met with them, and they said, well, we'll call you if, we think it's a good fit. They actually called me on my way home and said, we'd love to have you on the team. And I said, oh, thank you very much. So I just worked, I was their only buyer's agent at the time, and they were very heavy into new construction. So they were dealing with new construction. I was dealing with all the other half of the business that was not getting any attention. So I worked with them as their buyer's agent for a year. And then I asked for a renegotiation of our split, and they said, we can't. And I said, okay, no problem. I wish us all the best of luck. I'm going to go do my own thing. So for probably about, I don't know, about a year, I was on my own again. Life was great. And I said, well, what's stopping me from having the team? Um,
mm,
and that team that I was on, no education, nothing. Like, you were just expected to know what you were doing and just know everything. Um, Very big baptism by fire. And
mm.
so me, I thought, again, I love education. I love training. I said, what happens if I take a brand new agent and I groom them and I show them, like, here's the proper way of doing things, and here's a new fun way we can do this and do that. And so I'd had, gosh, I want to say, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people on my team at once. Oh, I'm definitely failed forward with this one.
Okay.
So they're all brand new agents, and they all have second jobs. So their second jobs ended up turning into full-time jobs. And I said, I feel bad, but I can't train you when you're at your job, your other
Right.
job all day. And they said, well, don't feel bad. It's my fault. And so most of them have actually gotten out of the business. They took full-time positions with their jobs. Um, I do have a business partner, so he and I are just doing our thing right now, and we're kind of talking like, where is the team going to go? Because again, I love that training and educating, but I think it's going to be, for me, it's going to be more of a national platform as opposed to local. So um,
Okay.
yeah, but it felt good to be able to assist, and helping other people find, is
Yeah.
real estate for you or is it not? And they got a hand up for sure. So they got the best of being a new agent, because they didn't have, any leads or any idea what they were doing. So I would say they had the best shake at it as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think is the biggest misconception that people have when they decide they want to get into real estate?
It's easy.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I got my phone, I have my license, I got my laptop. This is going to be easy. And
Yeah.
they realize, oh, I actually have to chase leads, and sometimes
Yeah.
people buy leads, or follow up, hand holding, education. There's just so much to learn. We can never learn everything. And once we
Mhm.
think we do, there's something's changed. The Fed's changed this, or the government's changed that.
Mhm.
Lending's changed here. So this is just a never ending educational pit where I could just get lost in learning everything. But I think it's the expectations. They just think it's going to be easy, and it's just not. Or they
Yeah.
think that they can have a second job, and oh yeah, I'll just sell real estate on the side.
And the part-time. Yeah.
Yeah, and people in my market, they do that. And there's a couple who are very successful, and they've been doing it for a while. But again, they've had to find that balancing act on
Yeah.
where do I spend my time the most? Can I leave my real job early to go
Mhm.
show homes here? Or, because most people, they have to look at homes after 5 or on the weekend. So it's like, well, you're either working on Saturday and Sunday. I know those used to be your days off, but guess what?
Yeah.
You decided to be a real estate agent. You don't get any days off. So
Yeah. I think
yeah,
HGTV has not helped us.
yes.
They
Oh,
just
free
see
homes
that
are done.
I could do that.
Yeah. Oh
Anybody,
yeah.
they don't see the paperwork and they don't see the
Mhm.
negotiations and they don't see what it
Absolutely.
takes to actually get the appointment.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think me working in a brokerage for as long as I did, that helped amazingly,
Oh, for
uh,
sure.
because I would see the turmoil in these agents' lives. They come in and they hand me a file and say, "Well, this one's canceled," and they'd stomp back out, and I'm like, "Oh, well, he's having a bad day." But little did I
Yeah.
know, wow, that was a $13,000 commission that they just worked their tush to the bone for. And at the, the final hour, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people said, and it was the same thing you said right when I got on here was like, oh, you saw everyone else, they were being successful, making the money, doing that.
Mhm.
Really, the money didn't factor in at all. It was, I think this is going to be good. I like to help people. I see all these other agents coming in and having issues, and I would ask them because they would have to come see me to pay their final bill before they quit being an agent or they switch brokerages. You'd have to come see me. And so I got curious after a while. So, well, why are you leaving? And they said, well, this brokerage doesn't provide, what they said they would, or there's not enough training here, or real estate's just not for me. And so there was just a common theme, and it all came down to education. And so I think that's, again, that's why I love it so much, because I get scared at just not sharpening that saw. I want to be on top of everything. And like I said already, things just move so rapidly and they change. So I'm always seeking to learn more and be the best that I can be. So
Yeah. That's very evident.
yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been so nice talking to you. But
You too.
I think that's the great spot to end. I think that um we could probably go on and talk all day.
Oh yeah, you could.
But we both I'm sure you've got clients waiting and kids
Oh
waiting,
yeah,
and I don't know if you can hear my dog barking,
I
but
can
the
hear the dog
mailman must
barking.
be outside.
That's okay. We all have dogs, right? Well, I
So,
appreciate the opportunity, Angela. Thank you so much.
yeah, it was great talking with you, and I wish you the best of success moving forward, and I can't
Yeah,
wait to get on some of your classes.
cool. Well, I will look forward to seeing you in the future then.
Oh, where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram. It's hashtag or the @ at your tattooed realtor.
Perfect.
If you Google me, Google Beverly Whipple Realtor, or any sort of combination, you will find me.
Perfect. I'll be doing that right now.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Beverly. You too. If you have found value in these episodes, please be sure to share and subscribe. I have so much more in store with guests that I can't wait to learn from.